welcome, Sarah. So let's get into your sports career. I know yesterday was awards night. It was the last time you're really ever required to be at Hopkinton, which is kind of crazy. So let's dive into it, starting off with HISA and you just starting your sports career.
Yeah, so I started soccer first, like ever since I came to Hopkinton, and that was just because my parents wanted me to. But I started playing lacrosse in second grade because my sister played, and I wanted to be like her. So I played in second grade, and then after that, a couple more years, I realized I really liked it a lot more than soccer, and so I wanted to play on another team. So I joined Tomahawks in fourth grade, and I've done it ever since.
Okay. So for you, can you explain a little bit about the Tomahawks program?
Yeah, so it's really involved with your recruiting process if you want to play college lacrosse. And I think from a young age, I knew I wanted to play college lacrosse. I didn't know what division or if I would in a couple years, but at that moment I did. So my parents signed me up, and you get put in a team close to your skill set, and then you go every weekend in the spring, summer, and fall. You go on tournaments with them, and during, I want to say starting your freshman or sophomore year, college coaches start to come to your games, and especially your sophomore year, you get involved with that. And Tomahawks does a really good job at putting you at a college they know you'd be good at, and setting you up with coaches, and just growing you as a player.
So how far do you travel for Tomahawks?
I've traveled far. I think the farthest I've traveled is Texas.
Wow.
Yeah. We go to Maryland a lot, New Jersey, but I think Texas is the farthest.
So what's the season look like for Tomahawks in comparison to a Hopkinton season?
Yeah, so the biggest season for Tomahawks is summer, because summer is always the biggest recruiting time. And we practice maybe twice a week, or only twice or three times a week. But the practices are very competitive. I mean, they're the best girls in the state. So it's always a very competitive time. And the coaching staff's really good. And a lot of the girls, we don't always play together in the normal season, but we play against each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's fun practicing with each other rather than playing against each other.
So for you, has this allowed you to meet more girls who are interested in lacrosse from throughout the state of Orange, just Hopkinton, different divisions, stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I have friends, they're all divisions, prep school. My best friend plays at Kimball Union. So I've just made the best friends over the time, and I'm so grateful for doing Tomahawks because now I have so many connections, and they're all going to different schools. We're all going across the U.S., so I think it's just really cool knowing different people, and I'm sure I'll see some in college games too.
Yeah.
So I think it's super cool.
So let's get a little bit more into Hopkinton. When you started playing exactly at Hopkinton, and what the competition at level at HISA, super young looks like, and how it evolves once you get up to varsity eventually.
Yeah, so I started in second grade, and I really enjoyed it because we did the buddy practices, and I just thought that was the best time. So I kept coming back for those. And I think it's cool because I've been playing with these girls since second grade, Katie and Izzy. I've been playing with them for so long. So I think we're all competitive within each other because we know how we all play. We've been playing with each other since second grade. So I think it's fun just from even the start. We've been competitive, steal the bacon or something. It's always been a competition because we're just so close and we know how we play.
For you, what do you think really started to set you apart from everybody else? Because when you look at the record books now, you're up there as one of the best statistical players in the history of the program.
Yeah, I think just starting Tomahawks from a young age really, I mean, I was playing lacrosse all year round, unlike some girls who are really good at all three sports they play, unlike me. So I think it was just me playing all year round, my parents putting me in all these different practices and different showcases, anything I could go to that was getting me playing every weekend, even every day, just set me apart from girls playing all 3 sports.
All right, so I'll have you briefly touch on middle school sports, and then we could go up to high school sports.
Yeah, so Hopkinton doesn't have a middle school team. We have a club team, which I think is cool. I didn't mind it. I think it was the same. But my mom was a coach. So that's all I really remember from middle school is my mom coaching me. And it's a lot of parents, but I still come back to coach Hopkinton Club Lacrosse. So I think it's cool thinking like that was me one time and now I'm helping out and seeing like all their parents helping out and thinking that was my mom one time. So I think it's just really cool.
How'd you feel towards the end of 8th grade as you were going up to the high school level? Like a little nervous, intimidated, or ready for the challenge?
Yeah, I was really excited. I think that was the year, 8th grade, that they won. Either my 8th grade or 7th grade one, they beat Derryfield in the championship. I'm not sure, but I went to that game because my sister was on Derryfield. And I saw that game, and I was super excited to play with all them. And it was obviously a higher level than what I had been playing at.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was really excited. I'd been playing some like indoor games with high schoolers, but I think just watching them, and I was really ready to play with them.
Do you think it was Tomahawks and all this competition that prepared you to play against these high schoolers when you're moving up from just playing against people who are your age and a year younger than you compared to people who were up to 3 years older than you?
Yeah, I think Tomahawks does a really good job. Like, during practices when there's not a lot of people that showed up, we scrimmaged the like age above us. So I think just practicing with girls who are older and more aggressive really prepared me.
All right. So for you, I'll have you take us through each season of your high school career, and you can start wherever you want.
So freshman year with soccer, I was put on JV, and then I swung up for playoffs, and they won that year. I think it was 3 years in a row, and it was really good. That was like my first experience with like Hopkinton athletics, and we won the championship. So it really motivated me every season, every year after that I want that feeling again. Because then the following year for soccer, we also won the championship. And that was a 4P, and that was a really good feeling because I did play that game for like a couple minutes, unlike the other game. So that was really good. And then my sophomore year for soccer, we made it to the quarterfinals, I think.
Junior year?
Yeah, my junior year, sorry. My junior year, we made it to the quarterfinals. And I think that was like just a growing year for us because we lost.
Was that the Stevens game?
Yeah, we lost in PKs, I think. So that was just a growing year for us because we lost like 11 seniors the year before that. So
I'm curious to get your thoughts on this. Because I remember going to that game and seeing a really, really close competitive game, 0-0, and then it went to penalty kicks and you lost in penalty kicks.
Yeah.
If you were to rewrite the rule book and redo the overtime, what would overtime look like? Would you say pull the goalies, nobody's allowed in the box and you have to shoot from outside the box? Or would you do something like you would have fewer players on the field, or would you just leave it as is with penalty kicks to make it more interesting?
I mean, I think if we won, I would say penalty kicks. But we didn't win, so maybe, I know they do this in like lacrosse tournaments sometimes where they keep pulling people. So maybe that would work, but I know if we won, I would still say penalty kicks. But then, so that year, yeah, I think we were just growing and working on our team. And yeah, penalty kicks isn't always the best way to go out, but someone had to lose. So it was a close game the whole time. Yeah. And then this year, my senior year, we had a really good season. It was really fun to be a part of. We made it to the Final Four. And then that was a really close game too. They scored, it was like 1-0, and they scored that one goal in the first 5 minutes. I'm glad we didn't lose from PKs again. But that was a really close game, and we all worked really hard that game and the whole season. And my coach for all that was Coach Zahn, and he's the best, and I'm really going to miss him being my coach.
For you, what were the emotions like knowing at the end of your senior year that was it?
Yeah, I think my last soccer game was more sad than my last lacrosse game here because I knew I was going to be going on playing lacrosse, but soccer, I was like, I'm never going to play this again. Like, I remember hugging my parents and being like, that was it. And I've been playing soccer longer than lacrosse, so I think just knowing that I've been doing this since a young age and that was my last game. And especially those girls, like Katie, Allie, and Liz, I've been playing with them since like forever. So, and none of us are going on to play. I mean, Liz might be playing club soccer, sorry, but none of the rest of us are going to be playing soccer. So I think it was just really sad going out with them.
Yeah. So for winter, what did your winter training sessions look like?
Yeah, so Hopkinton or Tom Hawks runs like an indoor lacrosse like sessions. So you do it with like your town, but it's run through Tom Hawks. So Hopkinton always does one of those, and I think it's really good. And it's important to show up to those because I think the girls that show up to those always come out during preseason the best. But so those are really fun, and they're every like Sunday, so they're just once a week, but they're fun. They're like short field. They're 7-on-7, I think. And so yeah, and then up until a couple years ago, I had Tomahawks practices during the winter, which I think were just once or twice a week. And those are always very helpful too because they're kind of combined with all the other players, so you're not just with your age group, you're with like a bunch of people and like all high schoolers in one building. So when I was like a freshman coming in, I was scared, but it like really shows how you can grow as a player, and watching the older kids was really cool. And then I also do separate like trainings with my trainer KK. We do like in the winter I was doing maybe twice a week or twice training and one lifting. So I think it's really important to keep training during the winter, and I try my best because I try to go to every basketball game too. So I don't play winter sports, so I think it's just important trying to keep me in shape, or at least doing a little exercise during the week.
Absolutely. It's also good with mental health and everything too. So lacrosse, your main sport in the spring. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I mean, I look forward to the spring every year. I'm a lot more excited to start it than soccer, but my freshman year, I was nervous playing with all those girls, but the good thing is Coach Zahn was my coach for that, and he had been my coach for soccer, so that was an easy transition. But we ended up going to the championship against Dairyfield, and we lost by 1. And that was a crazy game because that game we had like a rain delay, and it was like a 2-hour rain delay and there was like, I don't know, like 10 minutes left in the game, and we were like tied when it happened. So it was a good introduction to Hopkinton sports again because it really motivated me for the next couple years that I wanted to win that again. I think that was the hardest loss that I've had to play in during Hopkinton sports, just because I wasn't used to that feeling, and it was such a close game. And as a freshman, like I wanted to win it so bad for the seniors, but I think it helped because the next year, my sophomore year, we won the championship by 1, and that was my favorite moment in Hopkinton athletics. It was a really good game. We won by 1 against Bow.
Okay.
And the atmosphere was so fun. Like I think that was the best game I've ever played in. So many people showed up, so many fans, and it was a really cool game. And I was still pretty young. I was a sophomore, so I think it was just cool to see. And we had a lot of girls on it that after that year went to prep school. So like Hannah Hoyt and Maddie Zahn. So they were just so good. And we had a lot of seniors like Annie and Olivia who were just so good too. So it was a really fun team to play on, and I think that was the best team I've ever been on. And that game was just awesome to play on.
What'd you learn from those seniors your sophomore year?
I mean, we're still friends to this day. I saw them the other day, so I just think like them being seniors and older than me, and like still being so nice to me even though I was younger. And Olivia would drive me to practice every day. So I think just seeing like how they were so nice to me as seniors made me want to be like that to when I was a senior to like the freshmen and sophomores. So I just wanted to be like them and how nice and welcoming they were. And also at the same time, just great athletes.
Okay, so we'll move on to your junior year now.
Yeah, my junior year, it was kind of the same as my junior soccer year. It was a growing year. We got new coaches, so the coaches now, Coach Gus and Coach Brown, who were awesome. But they were new to it too. We kind of had a new team. We lost a strong senior class. But that was the year I transitioned to playing midi. I've been straight attack, but that year we needed more help on the midfield, so I started playing midi. I wasn't really good at it at first. It's a lot of running, and I'm not the best at defense. So that year was like a growing year for our team, but also me because I'm definitely not used to playing midi. But yeah, we made it to the quarterfinals, I think, against it was another close game against Concord Christian. But that motivated us to make it further the next year, which is this year.
All right, this year, senior season for lacrosse.
Yeah, I think this was another really good team, and one of the best teams I've been on during Hopkinton. We have 14 freshmen. I don't even know. So it was really cool being a senior with so many freshmen. I think some people look at that and are like, wow, that's not fun. But I thought it was very fun. I like all the freshmen so much. I didn't know if I was going to like them, but I like every single one of them. They're so much fun, and I think their senior season is going to be insane. I think they're going to win it. But it's definitely a competitive group. I'm bummed we didn't have Katie this year because she's an amazing lacrosse player. But she was such a good sport, and even though she's injured, she came to every single one of our practices, every single game. So it was awesome having her there. And then we had a really good season. We lost in the first 2 weeks to Guilford and Bow.
Okay.
And then after that, we didn't lose again until playoffs, until we made it to the Final Four, where we played St. Thomas, who was the number 1 seed. And it was kind of a blowout. It wasn't really a close game, but I think we did a really good job. They're a really good team, and I think everyone tried. I don't think it was on us as much that game. I think it was just they were a really good team. And I think we tried our hardest, and I was really proud of everyone. But my season was just really fun in general. The coaches made it so much fun, and I'm so happy that they were my coaches for my senior year. They had a lot of fun practices, and I think that was part of the reason, just them in general, was the reason we made it as far as we did.
Okay. So for you, what are some of your closing messages to people out there who might be freshmen this year and are just starting out with the lacrosse and everything?
Yeah, I would say, like, don't be scared. I think a lot of freshmen, even me when I was a freshman, were like intimidated going into the team, but everyone's so nice and welcoming. I've never had a problem with the lacrosse team. The coaches are so welcoming, and I think some people think going into like high school sports that you won't play as a freshman, you won't be on varsity. That's not the case at all. We had so many freshmen start this year, and so many freshmen score in big games, score big goals. So I think you can make an impact even as a freshman, and yeah.
All right. So let's get into the whole recruiting thing and deciding to play lacrosse in college. What was your dream for a long time? What was that whole process?
Yeah, so I knew I wanted to play college lacrosse. I wasn't sure what division. For a while, like all middle school, I was just saying, I don't care what division I play in, I just want to be playing after high school. And then kind of during my freshman, sophomore year, I was like, I really want to go Division I. I want to play at the highest level I can play at. So that's when I started like researching schools. My Tomahawks coaches helped me a lot, and kind of narrowing down schools that would be a good fit for me academically and lacrosse wise. So I think doing that my freshman, sophomore year, and then sophomore year is when you really start. So college coaches can't talk to you until September of your junior year. So all sophomore year, you just have to email as many coaches as you can without getting a response, really. But so just I was emailing. My mom does a great job at filming me. You know, Hopkinton does not have a camera, or our games do not get filmed. So my mom just would sit there every game with a camera and film it. So we would put together film and just emailing as many coaches as I could, and then going to prospect days and going to the schools, visit schools I was interested in, and then and then September 1st is like the big day for lacrosse recruits. So that day, it's like just filled with colleges texting you, setting up calls. So that's really fun. But after that, I went on a few visits, but I just didn't find the right school. I think it was a really fun opportunity. I got to travel with my mom to these schools just because they were interested in me. So I think that's just so fun, and it kind of shows your hard work pays off when you get to go on all these visits. And I also got to meet so many like great girls at these visits. And then after that, I didn't find the right school in the fall, and then the winter was just kind of again like going to prospect days and emailing coaches, and then the spring is when I got into like the recruiting process again. It was kind of slow in the beginning because the colleges are like still in their season, so college coaches aren't really focused on recruiting. But once that ended, I was still in my season, but I had sent out a film to a lot of coaches. It was like halfway through my season, just because I had some good highlights already, and I was like, I'm just going to send this out. And so I did, and then that night, Lindenwood University, the college I'm going to, they saw it, and their coach called me, and so I had a good conversation with him that night, and he was just basically like, we want you to see the campus. So I went on a visit a week later, and it was really fun. So my mom and I didn't really know what to expect. It's in Missouri, so we didn't know what to expect, but we got there and we had a great time, and I really liked the coaches, and it seemed like a really good fit for me. The coaches were great. I didn't get to meet any of the girls because it was during like their summer break, but the campus was awesome, the facilities were awesome, and I could just really see myself playing there. And then their conference, they're in the ASUN conference, and I had always wanted to go to like a Florida school or somewhere warm. Missouri's not that, but they play all the Florida teams. ASUN's like a very Florida and like Carolinas. So we go traveling around to all the Florida and Carolinas. So I think that was perfect for me. And the flight's really easy for my parents. So I was like, this is perfect. So I went home, talked to my dad about it, and then a week later, I committed.
Wow. So congratulations. Very,
Thank
very
you.
cool. So what are you going to be studying there, and what's your plans career-wise after college? I know that's a long time away, 4 years.
Yeah, so I was gonna go in for business, or like marketing, because I really like that, but I think I'm gonna go in undecided. I'm pretty sure I'm going in undecided because I'm not too sure. I'm very indecisive, and I like to give myself options, so I'm going in there like looking for all my options first, and then kind of going from there, because I'm not too sure with everything, but I think I want to keep marketing in it. And then after college, no matter what I'm doing, I want to try to keep lacrosse in it, whether that's like coaching a little team or I don't know, doing like an older league or something. I just want to keep lacrosse in it.
Makes sense. Do you think once college is done, you're going to stay in Missouri, or you'll come back to Hopkinton, or what?
I'll probably come back. I don't know about Hopkinton, but I'll probably come back to New England. I really like New England. I like Mass and Vermont. So I probably won't stay around there. I mean, if I really like it, sure. But I'm thinking I'll probably move to my parents again and family, because I have a lot of family in New England. So probably just staying around New England.
Makes sense. Any closing remarks or anything?
I'm just very grateful for Hopkinton Athletics and all the teams that I've been on and all the coaches. And I mean, I wouldn't be able to talk about my recruiting process or committing to a college without them. So I'm just very grateful.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.